Okay. All right. And then Muyang, are you able to stay the whole time?
Yeah.
You are. Okay, great. This is wonderful. Okay. Ready? Okay, hi everyone. Thank you so much for attending our speaker series. Today we have Valerie Amador, and she is the owner of Placement Helpers. Can you all please put your videos on mute so we don't have any distractions? You are being recorded so that other people can watch this on their own time. But this morning we're happy to welcome owner of Placement Helpers. She will introduce herself and let you know who she is, and then she'll also go ahead and then tell us about her job and give us any advice, as we are all interested in housing, senior living, helping our family members get places to live when they get older, places to age. She really is that liaison, helps people, families grab a new place to live. So anyway, I'll let people in as they come on in, and we're gonna go get started, and I'm gonna hand the mic off to Valerie. Welcome.
Thank you, Giovanna, for having me. And my name is Valerie Amador, and I'm the owner and founder of Placement Helpers. We have been around since 2007. I'll tell you a little bit of my background, how I got started and how it led to owning a business. Can you hear me all? So I used to work back in 2005 for 2 years. I worked with an agency, a non-medical home care agency. That agency also did placements. But my role in the company, I was hired to do staffing, hire caregiver, pre-screen the caregivers, and then staff them in people's homes if they needed a caregiver. So I would match the right caregiver with the perfect client, and that was my job. Once a week, every Thursday, I would leave my office for the whole day, and that was like the fun day, because I got to go and see properties and get contracts. So the company was called Placement Apex Care at that time that I worked for, and so I would go out in the community and get contracts with various residential boarding care homes and assisted living facilities. I would take pictures and, got pricing information, took photos, got the contract signed, and then we would start referring clients who were not able to stay at home any longer and they needed to go to a residential care home. So that's pretty much how I got started. I spent 2 years in that every Thursday, spent 2 years. And I think in that 2-year period, I think I looked at maybe 1,000 properties between LA and Orange County. And that's how I started getting to know the properties, what kind of clients they want, what type of pricing they're looking for. And from there, my boss decided to move back to Sacramento, and I was left out of a job, and I decided to start the company. Since I already had the experience of looking at 1,000 homes, I said, you know what, I'm gonna try this, and I'm gonna start Placement Helpers. So that's how I got started.
Nice. So what was challenging about getting these contracts signed? And when you're getting the contract signed, are you doing it with the family or with another company?
Getting the contract signed with the residential care homes was not a challenge, because we, as an agency, we become the marketing arm for a lot of these boarding care homes that don't go out there and market, don't go to a hospital, don't go as much to a nursing home. So they rely on people like myself and other companies that do what I do to bring them clients. So we're like an extended marketing arm, like I said. And so they're more than happy to be like, okay, Valerie, yes, we'll sign an agreement, bring me some clients. I'm in need of, I have 3 beds open, I'll pay the percentage that you want to. So the percentage back then, when I got started, we were at 50% of the first month's stay. Now that has increased to like 70 up to 100%, and that 100% gets split into 2 months now. But they're more than happy, to sign with people like us. So that's not a challenge. Sometimes the challenge is when we get a client that doesn't have a lot of money and they do need a lot of care, and low income, and let's say they only have $2,000. And when you become a boarding care owner, you're going to see that you can't take somebody for that much. It's going to, you have to, it's the average rate is around 4,000, 5,000 for a boarding care home. So that is our biggest challenge nowadays, especially with insurance. Medi-Cal doesn't really cover for this unless you're on, these other programs, but that's what we encounter nowadays.
Nice. Do any of the audience have a question to ask Valerie? Moyang, do you have any questions?
Oh, sorry, I was muting myself. Yeah, hi Valerie. I was wondering, like, how you're find yourself passionate in this area, want to trying to help senior people to find a place super for them to live. How drive you to this role?
I like helping people. I like helping others, and it makes me feel good. Sometimes families don't know where to start or where to begin. And a lot of times, and you're going to realize this, a lot of times families don't, even now, after doing this for almost 14 years, there's a lot of people that still don't know that this type of service exists, or that these type of residential care facilities exist. Even doctors sometimes, they think a nursing home, that's it, and they don't understand that there's assisted living facilities too. There's a residential care home. So it's just about getting people to understand the differences between the types of care facilities. There's independent living, assisted living, a residential boarding care home, a nursing home if you need more skilled care, nursing care. Then there's a hospital. So it's just understanding that, educating people on the options, and it makes me feel good to help people find the resources.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so do you ever work with hospitals to tell them to be that referral person, or at least speak with the discharge people? Say if you have someone who can privately pay, I can help place them.
That is the majority of our referrals come from hospitals and nursing homes. We try to go into hospitals and do what we call an in-service, where we get a meeting. We try to do once a year, or as long as they let us. But we get a meeting with the case management department. Usually there's 30 case managers, discharge planners in the utilization department, or we get a meeting with the social service department, the medical social service department, and there's about 20 or 30 social workers. We try to find both departments and try to do an in-service with both departments. And we tell them our services, our services are free of charge. We are contracted with about 35 assisted.
Oh, you froze for a sec, Valerie.
That's gonna plan out, but one thing that sets us apart from other placement agencies is that we do provide free guided tours. So if the family is at the hospital and a case manager will call us, hey, Valerie, come and meet with this family. They're looking for a boarding care home. Then, we would, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Then we would come and meet with the family, find out what their care needs were, and take the family out on tours.
Nice. So you got into senior housing because you liked helping people. Was there someone that kind of introduced you to this role, or did you create this role for yourself?
I used to work for an agency, so he kind of showed me the ropes on how to do this. I continued from there.
Gotcha. And you enjoy doing it so far? Everything. How long have you been doing this?
14 years now. Well, since 2007, I think 13 years now.
Wow. And you have to deal with a lot of customer service, right? So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because as we work with people, we have all these different personalities, and you know, people they need a place to live, but they may not even have the money. And so what are some pointers that you would give us to help serve others and to remain calm and make it a really good experience for them along the way?
There are definitely family dynamics. So one children wants this, the other children wants that, or some of them want somewhere really nice, yet they can't afford it. I can't, you know, I always try to make them understand I'm not going to send you to a place that's going to look like a dump, because they are such places. And you know, but in some cases, hey, you know, if you can't afford this, there's really nothing I can do for you. You're not going to want to go here, and I don't want to send you here, because then you're going to be mad at me and you're going to be upset at me. So I'd rather not. So maybe you should go talk to the other children and see maybe they can pitch in a little bit more money, and you guys can come up with a little bit more, so you can go to a better suited property.
Nice. And how many staff, like how much staff do you work with on a day-to-day basis?
There's about 12 of us altogether.
Nice. And you're all working from home right now?
All of us, yeah.
Wow. And so you did cut out a little bit on a few parts ago, but you said like, so during COVID now, are you still able to do the operations? Just do you schedule times where you can go see a tour, and do you have to don the PPE and go into the homes and stuff, or how is that working for you guys?
We're doing virtual tours now.
That's really cool. Actually, our teacher took us on a virtual tour on a pretty big AL, IL, and memory care facility in Chicago, and it was like I was kind of there. I felt like I was there. So it's really cool how now we have this technology to help us get in there safely and see the facility. What is your favorite and least favorite part of your job?
Least favorite part of my job? I don't think I have any. My phone rings all the time sometimes. Maybe when I don't want it to ring, it rings. But other than that, I mean, I enjoy what I do. I like it. And if I'm busy, I'll take the call. It takes 5 minutes to answer the call, find out what they need, and assign it to another rep to continue helping them.
I like that. What have you learned in your experience over the 14 years you've been in the industry that you wish someone would have told you before you got into the industry? Or what have you learned now that you think that we should know?
I don't know. I can't think of anything.
Is it maybe money drives everything and people are restricted based on money? And so maybe do you find that seniors can afford it generally? Or at least, do you work with higher income or above average income?
So, and yes, in regards to that, it's like you have to have a plan for when you retire, whether it's that's a long-term care insurance policy, an IRA, you know, some investments, buy a property, call that your long-term care insurance policy, because, like I said, things were half the price that they are now, 14 years later. And assisted living, we used to easily place people back in 2008 for, you know, $2,000 total care, private room. Now that $2,000 is $4,500 plus. So, you know, save your money, invest, and or buy a long-term care insurance policy.
Do you find
and buy it, you know, in your mid 40s, early 50s or sooner?
Okay. Yeah, because I hear like the sooner you get started, the more that'll accumulate. But a lot of my generation does not think about things like that and don't want to invest in that. But I always hear in the Gero department, get LTC insurance. But then I also heard as time goes on, they cover less because people are living longer. So yes. It's kind of a controversial thing. Some people think it's kind of a waste, but then some people, it helps them. So how does long-term care insurance really make a difference? Can you tell us why we should get long-term care insurance?
Well, it just depends. If you pay a monthly premium, and when you are in need of like assistance with daily living at a certain age, let's say you're in your mid 60s and now you need some assistance, personal assistance with your daily living, then you can call your long-term care insurance policy that you paid for have been paying for the last 20 years, and they're gonna pay a portion for so many years, maybe for the next 5 years or 10 years, or now they're short term. Before they were indefinitely, they would cover you indefinitely, but now it's like they only cover you for the next 5-10 years. And they're going to pay a portion anywhere from $75 to up to $200 a day. And that definitely helps pay for your long-term care, whether if you stay at home with the caregiver or you go to a long-term care facility, whether it's a nursing home or an assisted living.
So it covers home care
so
too.
if they pay a portion and it's still not enough for the community that you're moving into, then the family has to put in the difference out of pocket. But it definitely helps. $200 a day, that's $6,000 a month. That definitely helps. So.
Gotcha. Mo Yang, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I have also a question. Like, what's the biggest challenge you met like during your career? Like when you find it's really difficult when you're doing your job, and also what's the biggest challenge like during the COVID-19 time? Like you find it's difficult to talk with the senior people to find like what's the best place for them or kind of thing.
The challenge during COVID was that we were unable to visit the hospitals as frequently as we'd like to, or walk freely to a nursing home, walk into a nursing home and go meet with the social worker. So still we can't do that, but we figured out ways to somehow still connect.
That's really nice.
But that was a challenge in the beginning. We're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? But we figured it out, and business has been steady, so that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really nice. We have a question like from Ying Xue. She's typing it through the Zoom group chat. Can you see that, Valerie? Or I can ask you that.
Okay, you can ask. I don't see it.
Okay, like she asked 2 questions. The first one is like when senior people look for a place to live, do they pay it by themselves or pay by their children, including daughter-in-law or son-in-law? And what are the percentage of this? That's the question. Yeah.
Both, all of the above. If the senior has a certain monthly income, they'll use that income to pay for the assisted living facility. It just depends on the senior's income. If they're short, then family will pitch in and contribute.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is, how do you think of teaching old people finance course? Nowadays, we have finance course in high school and university to cultivate people, consider the long-term benefit, but it seems that little materials for old people about that.
Yes, and they should always seek out talk to a financial advisor, especially if they have assets, like if they have rental property, if they own a home, if they have savings. They should always, I said, it's a good idea to talk to a financial advisor, and then that way they can have a plan in place for when they need the care.
Okay, thank you. That's right.
Okay, so Valerie, who do you know from the from the attendance that is from your company?
I have Margarita and Gisela and Christina.
Okay. So we gotta figure out the Zoom user's name, and EJCM is on their way. So just wanted to make sure we don't have any bombers and any people who shouldn't be here. Okay. Let's see. So some more questions we have. What do you provide any internships for students or for anybody who may be interested in learning or employment opportunities with your company? And if
Um,
so, what are the criteria?
I haven't, but I haven't actually, but it's I would consider, and we can discuss that later.
Alrighty. Um, is there anything that you would share with us that you think would be beneficial to someone that's in school and thinking about a career, or maybe some advice that they could give to their families or for themselves? Because I think Gero is applies to others as much as it applies to you. So any type of advice that you would give us, whether it's career, personal, or just future knowledge, what are some things that you learned that you'd like to share with us?
I think find out what type of, if you want to end up working in a nursing home, I would suggest maybe you tour when you're able to a couple of nursing homes and see what the difference in various roles are. And, you know, maybe visit a couple assisted living facilities, the residential care homes. If you're interested in, you know, doing the non-medical in-home care services, and maybe shop around and contact a couple in-home care companies. There's also hospice agencies available with various jobs, you know, whether you're a nurse, an LVN, you can be a social worker working in a hospice company, a care manager, there's home health. So there's different departments in the healthcare industry, and, you know, shop them all around and see what they're all about.
And when you say shop, you mean call them, ask to go see them, get
Yep.
tours, ask pricing, and really go around.
Yes.
What are some things that you notice that older people want when they're moving into a place? What are some amenities and services that are popular to them? And as I was on a conference, like I was saying, or I was in Argentum, and some of that changes, especially with the COVID and stuff. What used to matter to them before matters now, or doesn't matter now. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
If the person is alert and you know, still very active, they're going to want a nice place that has activities, uh, um, recreational rooms, outings, you know, probably they want in
I'm sorry,
but
Valerie. It actually just kind of froze you for a little bit. Do you mind repeating what you just said, please?
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
so if the senior is active, they're going to want a nice place where they can socialize with others, to go on group outings. Sometimes, you know, they'll want a nice, large one-bedroom apartment. Sometimes they'll wish for a kitchenette. Not all places have a kitchenette. But, you know, they'll want a nice place where they can still do activities with other folks, if the senior is active. However, if the senior is in a higher level of care, then, you know, it's a different story. It's just going to be, let's find me a place that can really take care of me. That's you know, that's just not going to let me sit there and be in my room by myself, and, you know, things like that.
Yes. I'm going to open up the floor. Does anyone else have any questions to ask Valerie? Okay. Valerie, do you know Natasha? Is she also on the call?
Yes.
Okay. And by any chance, do you know EJCM?
No, I don't.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. They said they're with Amador Care.
Oh, okay. Edwin, I'm sorry. Yes, it's one of us.
Is that another company, or is that
No, that's the name of my corporation.
Oh, nice. So tell us about business. Tell us about how you started that and what that takes.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know. I just kind of had to figure it out. I had to go to the, the city of Norwalk and incorporate and start a corporation, and then from there, I got a DBA under placement helpers, um, and that, you get a tax ID, and then you're in business.
That was the most simple way I've ever heard business be explained. Because to me, it sounds scary and intimidating, and business plan I heard is the first thing you're supposed to do. But also, yeah, you go to your cities and find out the regulations, and then you pay for you got to pay a bunch of things to get some permits and licenses. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
That comes next, depending on where you decide to put your office, then you pay for a business license to operate a business in that office location. And then comes the, other liabilities like workers' comp. If I do have a full-time employee in my office in Long Beach, actually she's the only one working in the office. None of us, she doesn't allow us to come and be with her at the office right now. So, there's the workers' comp, liability insurance, professional and commercial liability. So that comes after you set up the business corporation. Payroll taxes, all that stuff.
did you take out a loan, or how did you come up with capital to start the business?
I worked by myself for a few years initially, and we get pay a finder's fee after we place a senior. So it wasn't like we needed money up front to start the business. It was, you started saving and then you were able to hire somebody.
I like that. Moyang, do you have any questions about business?
Yeah, I was really amazed by Valerie's your career road to this company. It was so cool. And also wondering how do how do you think the most important character of being a leader, how can you better lead your company and doing all the jobs and roles to make the company moves better?
I wish I could be better at it, actually, to be honest. I didn't take any business courses, or, I was going to school to become a social worker, and then I started the business in 2007. So I pretty much quit school. So I don't have a degree like you guys, but, I think by taking a business management class, I think that will definitely help in the future. I find a little challenge with some of my colleagues. They're not my employees, for example, so I can't really tell them what to do. But I try to help them as much as possible. And but sometimes it's like you can't force so much. As if you were my employee, I would write you up, and so it's a little bit different. My colleagues are my workers are independent contractors, so it's a little bit different than being employed. So as far as
Whoops, you froze on us again.
Yeah.
they kind of can do what they want. They make up their own hours. They can work 4 hours a day or 8 hours a day if they wanted to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, your connection is cutting in and out, but I think you were saying that, was it an independent contractor or the owner? Someone can work 4 to 8 hours if they want to?
Yeah, so they make their own hours. They make their own shift, their own schedule. I try to provide them with as much as possible, like literature, marketing material, pens, business cards, and stuff like that. But there's so much. There's a line that I can't really cross as being a
Sorry, it was frozen a little bit. Hello?
Valerie, are you there?
I'm here.
You said there's a line that you can't cross as their
Independent contractors.
okay. Yeah.
Got it.
They're common in the fields. People just do whatever they're doing, and you can hire them for their service, and they work whenever they want. But you're really not their boss. They're kind of the boss. I see.
Right. Yeah, but they are in a sense still representing the company, and so I have to make sure that they follow, some protocols as to, you know, don't only work with licensed facilities. We don't work with non-licensed facilities. Try to do the best for the client and keep the reputation going, obviously.
Absolutely. What are some pointers to work with clients? How do you work with them? I mean, are you usually working directly with the person that's looking for the housing or their families? I know you said both, but nowadays, who is it? Who is calling you? Is it the family member, the daughter?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part.
So I want to know, who is the person you contact with the most? Is it the person actually that needs the housing, or is it their family? Like, is it their daughter? I want to know specifically the demographic of who's really calling you or asking you for help.
It's actually the children. 90% of the time, it's actually the children.
And when they call you, are they kind of frantic? Like, I need somewhere for my mom, this ASAP, she's really picky, or are they?
Sometimes it's ASAP. Sometimes is they're starting to plan ahead, which is a really good thing to do. And for example, I got a call this morning at 9 o'clock. A lady called me, and she is thinking she's realizing that her mom is going to need some in-home care services for her mom in the Downey area. And we told her that we partner with several home care companies, and the minimum that they charge, that they can do, is come out to the home for a minimum of 4 hours a day. And we kept talking and getting more information about her mom's needs, and she wanted to interview two companies. She's doing one actually right at 12:15 during her lunch break. An agency is coming to meet with her and discuss their services and find out what the mom really needs. And then she's meeting with another company tomorrow during her lunch break tomorrow. So, planning ahead, it's a good start. Sometimes it's good to do, because depending on how much money mom may have in the bank, or if there's a property and you're realizing that mom's getting a little, mild cognitive impairment, there's some memory loss there. What are we gonna do? So calling people like us and getting an idea of what things cost it's something good to do to plan ahead and see how long that money that you have is going to last you when you make that transition to an assisted living.
Learn in school, like Social Security isn't really going to cover it, or you think Medicare is going to cover it. It's not. So they really, really teach us to have a backup plan or start investing now. So
it's like, are we going to rent the house? Should we rent the house? Should we sell the house so we have that money? So it's a good thing to do.
But more specifically, demographic wise, how old are the people calling you? Are they more daughters than sons? What age?
Well, it's more daughters usually, and their age is usually in their mid-50s. I want to say mid-50s, and their parents are already in their mid-70s to 80s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we get most of the calls from hospitals and nursing homes, my demographics of the clients that we help are usually somebody that's already at a hospital, or they've had an incident, an episode, and something, they fell, broke a hip, or had a stroke, and at that time they're in a crisis mode and they need something right away. We do get internet leads, and that is from sometimes the actual seniors looking for an independent retirement home. But that is probably like maybe 15% of our business. The majority comes from folks that had an episode and during the hospital. So the children are calling.
Oh, so as you mentioned, like most of the customers, like who are calling for your help, like we end up like finding the housing with relative like nursing home, or others, like what's the most kind of housing they want trying to find? Like
a residential boarding care home, or an assisted living facility, or an Alzheimer's dementia assisted living facility. So those three are mostly, and then the fourth one would be in-home care. I want to stay at home, get me a caregiver.
Got it. Yeah. So most of the older people were like calling was like going to live in a special nursing home, but not like I was first saw like most people who are calling will be people who are trying to find a perfect like a senior home to live, not just live in a home. But it was kind of different from what I think. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And a lot of times, sometimes they want to stay at home, and they ask for a caregiver 24/7. And I forgot to email you the pricing sheet, but I can email it to you after this, and you can forward it to the folks on the call. But we made a little price sheet comparison of in-home care on the low, moderate to high, and on the other side it has pricing for assisted living, boarding care homes, Alzheimer's, dementia, nursing home, on the low, moderate to high rates. And it kind of gives you an idea of what things cost on a monthly basis or an hourly basis. So if you want a caregiver to be to take care of you 24/7, the average rate is $26 to $28 an hour nowadays for in-home care. When you do the math, you know, $28, you know, around the clock for 2 12-hour shifts, that's looking, I can't do the math right now, but you know, you do 9 hours times 27 plus another 9 hours. There you go. Yeah, a day. And that's not including overtime probably, because there's 3 hours of overtime. So, and you do that times 30. Giovanna, you do that times 30, that's a lot of money. Yeah, how much? Yeah, that's to have a caregiver 24 hours around the clock. So not a lot of my clients have that kind of money. So the plan B is to go to an assisted living for $4,000 or $5,000. And we give them those options.
And that will give you the package. That'll give you the help that you need for ADLs, a place to live, and then maybe like a meal or two a day, and maybe some transportation amenities. Okay, I see now. So being at home costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
What was I gonna ask?
But there are other options too. With that rate, you're looking at a bonded, insured. Now the home care agencies are licensed by the Department of Social Services now, so they're home care agency organizations now, and so that's that rate for that type of agency. There's also the caregiver registry that's going to charge you maybe $250 a day versus the 5 something a day, but the difference is that they're not there's no workers' comp, and the caregivers are 1099 workers, which who knows how long that's going to last with these laws changing, you know. So, but for now, there's still companies that understand that, and they still want to stay at home, and sometimes they go with the registry route.
What are some, we're actually 10 minutes away from the closing hour. I wanted to know, what are some gaps in the system that you find that you're like, it's either between the healthcare team or your team versus who you're doing the referrals with in the hospitals, but what are some gaps that you feel like we need to address? Maybe us gerontologists can work on that in the coming years.
Gaps. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with you know, doctors referring to their own property, or referring to a specific home health or home health hospice agency because there's some, you know, shady stuff going on in the background, and you're gonna see a lot of that. Or I don't know if you heard a couple years back with the Medicare over, you know, coding to getting overbilling the insurance companies to get, you know, an extra wheelchair when it wasn't needed, you know, things like that. So there's a lot of you're gonna see a lot of that malice stuff going on, and you know, it's sometimes it's not beneficial for the seniors, but you know, beneficial for the person getting that kickback, and you're going to see some of that. And my suggestion is steer away from that. It's not, you know, it's not going to give you a good reputation, but you're gonna see it. I hope that was, I think that's one of the biggest gaps that we see, that I've noticed, at least.
Okay, I'm just opening up the floor to anyone who wants to ask questions. This was more of a discussion-based speak, so if you guys want to jump in, please feel free to ask any questions. And it is now 11:52, so we will wrap up at 12.
Hi, Valerie. This is Inshu. I'm sorry that my camera does not work. I have a question. Tracking by your talking just a few minutes ago, you have said that your employee somehow does not like a normal employee. It's like an independent contract. May I ask, like, is that means they will have a quota for their contribution to evaluate how much they're gonna pay?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Question,
With the independent contractors for the caregiver agency?
yeah, that means they have a quota, like they have a standard amount, like how much they're gonna contribute to get the payment.
I'm not understanding what the question is.
Yeah, since they are like independent contract, they probably may not belong to the company. So
Okay,
how
so
you evaluate their work, like
okay,
how you evaluate work to get the pay?
so I think from what I know, the caregiver registry is going to pay the caregiver as much as possible for that shift, for that $250 or $300 a day shift. I think the agency only makes a percentage of that work, but the caregiver is going to.
Hi, Valerie, you froze again.
You still have to pre-screen that client, that caregiver. The caregiver still has to have experience working with an elderly person, usually 2 to 3 years experience. They do check background and background checks, but the only difference is that the caregiver is just not technically employed, and there is no workers' comp provided for that caregiver. But if I'm the homeowner and I needed to hire one of those registries, my homeowner policy has a clause that I can hire a domestic worker, and now my caregiver would be covered. So as far as if I hire that caregiver may be also working for another agency that's licensed, bonded, and insured, and it's got all the, everything in place. So she's providing the same level of care. It's just with the registry is a little bit different. I hope I answered the question.
Yes. That is my questions, and I really appreciate your answer. Thanks.
Yeah, they still have to vet the caregiver, and they just get a staffing fee, and it's usually about 20% of what the agency makes for the staffing.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
We have a question in the chat, and it says, how do in-home services deal with medications? For example, regulating the medications that are given during the different intervals of the day.
So most agencies are non-medical. They're all non-medical home care. So if the family can put the medications in a pill box, Monday through Friday type of thing, at the AM, PM, and noontime, then the caregiver will just handle that medication to the senior. But I don't think they're allowed to actually, go through all the meds and put them and organize them themselves. There has to be somebody else, or either a home health agency or the children of the senior to do that part.
Yes, that is correct. We manage medications, but we don't administer them.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Wrapping up here, we have 4 more minutes till the hour. If anyone has any questions or if anyone wants to thank Valerie, I want to thank Valerie. Thank you so much on behalf of SGA and for your time and for your insights on the real world out there. You know, we know so much in the books, but we are not able to translate that into real world. So we really appreciate you letting us know about how you started your company and the operations behind it. You know, it takes a lot. And thank you for what you're doing, because this is a service that is really in demand for people, because they don't really see it coming, and then they need the help, and then they call you and you're able to ease that process for them. So I appreciate that.
It's definitely a good resource, you know, to call people like us, because we'll tell you what more or less things cost, where things are, and you know, we can do comparisons. You want to stay at home, this is what's going to cost you to stay at home. If you can go this route, there's another option, which is a registry, or you know, we always try to help. We don't say no to people. We always try to do the best that we can do, and it's a good resource. A lot of people don't know that we exist, but there's actually a lot of us around. So.
And then actually on that topic, can you talk about the marketing that you do in order to get people to know about you?
Like I said, we go to hospitals, doctors, social workers, nursing homes.
Have a
We
website
advertise
as well.
Yeah, we advertise online. We get, you know, we get our clients, if our happy clients, to give a review if they have time to give a review online, or Yelp or Google, you know, that ranks up your website.
But you have your staff going to the facilities, the hospitals, and they word of mouth will give the information.
Correct.
So you don't really pay too much for marketing. Is that what I'm hearing?
Right. They do their own marketing. I provide them with my materials, but they do their own marketing, and they go find their own contacts. So I assign territories for them.
And that works for you. That sounds like it's an effective method. Yes. Great. Well, everyone said thank you on the chat. I got pretty much a thank you from everybody here. And thanks for inviting your colleagues too, because it was really great to have some more people who work with you, but able to see in a different light, hear you talk about the company. So this is really great. And next week we have Marlena DeHero. And I know you partner with her at Seniorly. So she'll be speaking with us, and she has a gerontology background. So I know you guys kind of do a little bit of the same things, but hopefully they have different information to share because they're different human beings. Nice. Thank you so much. We're going to wrap this up. And thank you to everyone for coming today. And I want to wish everyone a great day. So have a good one, everybody, and talk to you later, Valerie.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.